I was asked to give a small presentation about how to set up an NGO in Tanzania in my situation. But I changed the title in how to encourage wind energy in Tanzania, doing that by setting up an NGO or setting up a company. And I have no answers for you, I just have 3 years of experience in Tanzania, which I'd like to share a little bit of those experiences to you. And you can draw your own conclusions about that. My mission statement when I went to Tanzania was to encourage small-scale wind energy by local activity. That was my mission of going to Tanzania. These are the very classical points where I was motivated by, and the famous Millennium Development Goals, by building new picket turbines and setting them up. We are working at number 1, which is to eradicate the poverty and the hunger. And number 7 is about making sure of a sustainable environment, because the people we are addressing in rural areas, they're using the most less efficient generators that you can think of. Bringing the knowledge, that was very soon clear to me that the picket turbine is one of the most robust ways of a small-scale wind turbine, and it was recognized by the people I encountered. So I came into contact very soon with the Tanzanian Association for Solar Energy. So it's the branch organization. They have about 100 members, and they were just in the process of changing from TASEA into TAREA. So now there is a Tanzanian Renewable Energy Association. And that works very well in Tanzania. So if you like to do something there, you can come into contact. It's quite efficient. And when I introduced the picket turbine in workshops where entrepreneurs were trying to set up wind turbines, they were fascinated by some aspects. I remember one guy who was thinking his whole life about the furling mechanism, and when he saw it in the picket turbine, he was like, whoa, this was what I was looking for my whole life. And they understand the way of welding, and this is technology which is in their hands. It's about empowerment, to invest in key people, and I found out that key people in Tanzania are, when you go to the villages, it's like the headmaster of the school. That's somebody who will never leave the village. So it's, if you invest all your knowledge into that person, you don't have to be afraid that he's leaving. For example, the doctor of the school, and well, the district councillor can work or cannot work, depending on what kind of motivation this district councillor has. Local businessmen, I found very worthwhile working together with, because normally these local businessmen, they know how to do solar energy. So they know how to do the small setup. 1 panel, 1 battery, and then when you introduce the wind turbine, they understand, okay, it works somehow similar. I have to go to DC power, and then my whole system with batteries and inverter, that will stay the same. And they have also the market. So the businessmen, they know exactly how much a system can, what they can ask for a system. So if you come there and you say, this is a $10,000 machine, and you will find just very few people in Tanzania interested in this. But when you come to the low-end solutions, then you might pick up interest from them. Local jobs. I didn't find, well, I just found a few people who can make a living out of full-time wind energy or hybrid systems. But most of the time it's businessmen doing other stuff, like welding, carpentry, etc. And then they will do wind energy added to that. So they have extra income out of it, but they're not relying on it completely. how to achieve the goal, to bring the knowledge of setting up wind energy with the local context. How is this goal done most efficiently? Would you do it for profit or would you do it with an NGO? That's the question. So let's see. If you look from the point of a training, it doesn't matter really that much. If it's a training set up by a company or by an NGO, the people they will come to your training because they feel that they like to know, they have their own motivation, but they really like to be in the training. But they all have families, so they will only come if you pay their expenses and if you give them a very small amount of money. It doesn't matter if you do this from a business point of view or from an NGO. This is the concept of bringing knowledge in a practical training like I did. The maintenance issue. How would you do that most efficiently? The company likes to have a working wind turbine, but the NGO also. So again, I don't have really the answer like it's always better to have a wind turbine installed by a for-profit or it's always better to have it by an NGO. The difference is very small. I took a small slide of the technical issues. They look similar to the pictures of Gael and to some other pictures. The first thing to do, of course, is to make sure that you have a way of analyzing those mistakes. So either if you run a company or you did this installation by an NGO, you need to make a phone call to the local village, to the rural area, if the turbine is working well. If there's a problem, you need to understand what's the problem. You have to call some local help. So what we did normally was the trainings were given in rural areas, and there was always a local city around where there is capacity. So where the people of the training were staying in that area. So we need to organize the repairman, either the electrical technician or the mechanical guy. We didn't send the complete crew. Normally we would send only 1 or 2 persons to fix the problem. And we did it both for the turbines which were produced by the NGO and which were produced by the private company. This is also the same, you have to travel there. The total travel cost, which was shown by Aaron or by John, was quite similar to the Tanzanian case. Of course, I did all the maths, and I found out the easiest trip was $125 and the most difficult one was $500. This is really the low-cost way of reaching the turbine without the cost of the repair material. This is how the map of my turbines in the end looked like. So, well, it's the worst areas are 2 days and 4 hours, or when you go to the north, it's also 2 hours. It's a one-way trip. So this is what the operational maintenance cost is about. It's traveling to bring, in the case that the knowledge of Dar es Salaam was needed, where our head office was. If you can fix it in a nearby town, okay, then it's fine. So, adding up, to set up an NGO or a company will cost you about $1,000 in Tanzania. That's the same. The yearly cost for the workshop, the office, the accountancy, it's the same. The positive image of an NGO is that you're doing good, but the positive image of a for-profit is that you can run independently and help. The negative image is that an NGO would not be sustainable. And the negative image of a company is that those guys are doing it only for the money. So, cash from donations, NGO support from the Western world is getting less. Sometimes as a company you profit from donations because you get the Western money by another NGO who's hiring you as a company. Cash from customers you would get like NGOs would get, or as a company you get them directly. when it comes to tenders, you have to bring in your technology. Sometimes you are eligible as an end user, sometimes you are eligible as a company. So my conclusion.
You should do both.
Yes, that's what I did. This is the model which could work in Tanzania. It's by this cooperative society. There's some sponsor or donor for the system, and if the cooperative is bringing in enough cash to keep the system up and running.